Hello again, people. Welcome back to HemingwayLand.com, your source, quality, affordable land in the state of Arizona. Yes, people, we are back this week in the Grand Canyon State, continuing to branch out into new states, new counties. This time, guys, we have our first properties in Santa Cruz County in the southern portion of the Grand Canyon State. We got 3 properties down here in a residential area. As always, the video that you're watching right now will be posted on all of those listing pages. This is going to be more about the subdivision, more about the region that these properties exist in, rather than a property-specific video. For property-specific notes, for those of you who are looking to dig a little bit deeper into these lots, you want to buy one of them, you don't know which is best for you, just come down here on these listing pages, guys. We've got the property-specific notes, which will enumerate whatever minor differences exist between these lots. And additionally, down here in the photo gallery, of course, we've got the Google Earth images, the plat maps, we've got photos from the respective properties that will give you all a better sense of the terrain, the surroundings, the footprint of the land, so as you can better compare and contrast. Between now and then, however, guys, I do want to say at the outset of this video, these are residential properties. I see a lot of people who do what we do, who try to market these for various reasons as, I don't know why, recreational properties or properties that you can dirt bike on all the livelong day. That is not the case with these. These are residential properties in a residential area with some pretty nice home sites, some developed home sites all around. So if you're looking for property that you can RV on, that you can camp on, that you can, again, dirt bike on, these are not the properties for you. I'm sure we have many other properties in inventory that fit that description. This, however, is not that. These properties are more so for those who are looking for inexpensive plot of land that they can begin to build, let's say, a single-family residence on, particularly within this given locality. Okay, so just at the outset, want to get that out of the way. Whatever the case, let's get to introing these just a little bit. These are all in Santa Cruz County, Arizona, more specifically in the Rico Estates subdivision. All the ones that we have in inventory at the moment are roughly about 1 acre plus or minus, and all of them are priced between $8,500 and $9,000. So I will let you figure out which one is which and which one has the features that you're looking for. For now, however, guys, let's pull these up on a map, show you guys exactly where these are. We've got GPS coordinates right here. Click any one of them, guys, and it'll bring the property up here on the Google Maps. So first off, just to acclimate you guys with the basic geography, this, hello, is Arizona, and down here in the southern portion of the Grand Canyon State is where you will find Santa Cruz County, the smallest county in the state. It sits roughly about 2.5 hours south of Phoenix and about an hour south of Tucson. It is just a little bit north of the Mexican border, and hence just a little bit north of Nogales, Arizona. These properties are in Rio Rico. Rio Rico is a town of about 19,000. That's what the population is out there. I would love to tell you that we have photos of it, as we like to get taken, of local towns that we buy properties in. That being said, our photographer was on a drive back from San Diego at the time, and he was not able to get town photos. Nonetheless, I hear it's great. I hear it's lovely. I hear it's charming. Whatever the case, out here in this town of roughly population 19,000, you've got some grocery stores, you've got some supply stores, you've got some government buildings, places where you could go get gas, deliver your mail, so on and so forth. It should be noted, guys, that if you do elect to buy this land, you start to develop it, you're looking for bigger box stores, places where you could go for larger supplies of groceries, larger supplies of building materials, whatnot. It's going to be down here in Nogales. Not only do you have the Walmart Supercenter out here, you also have the Home Depot, as well as a number of course, fast food restaurants, things like that. A little bit more of a happening town down here in Nogales, just about 10 minutes south. Now, let's go back to Rio Rico here. So as I have noted, this is a population of about 19,000, all located right here within the I-19 corridor. Should be noted here at the outside, guys, there's the developer who came in and bought up all this land and chopped it all up into these many residential parcels. They created a number of different developments out here. All of them have the name Rio Rico something or other. These properties we're talking about are in Rio Rico Estates, specifically sitting just west here of the I-19. Now, the point of me saying that is that with these different subdivisions come different covenants, come different restrictions, come different zoning, so on and so forth. So just to be clear, if you are shopping in this area for land, I'm speaking right now very specifically about this sub, Rio Rico Estates, over here to the west of the I-19. With that out of the way, let's zoom in on this specific property that we're talking about. And actually, first, what I want to just point out to you guys is we keep talking about these as residential properties. Theoretically, all the land that we list on the website is residential. That's, true across the board. That being said, there are areas that are undeveloped and there are areas that are developed. And this area, population 19,000, is developed. Okay, so particularly if you zoom in here closer to the highway, you're going to see a number of, built up home sites right over here. Of course, there's less and less of these the further west that you go, but this community has been developed quite a bit. Even if you go, a couple miles west of the highway here, you'll see a number of home sites in this area. Zoom in on the map, any one of these. A lot of homes. Now, of course, with these homes, the benefit is that there are city utilities out here throughout this region. I'll get into that a little bit more. Really, throughout the entirety of the subdivision, you're going to find power up and down each of these roads, underground utilities, telecom lines up and down each of these roads. And all of these home sites are actually serviced by city water. This is actually an area in which you are supposedly not allowed to drill a well. So all the home sites that you see out here do have city water service going to them, okay? Anyway, the specific property that I'm just kind of showing you here in the video, this actually sits at the top of a cul-de-sac up here, close to some home sites up this way. So top of a hillside, have some nice views out here. If you zoom in on the map, you could kind of see some power lines up here. If I take you to the photo gallery, guys, you can see not only, number one, the Google Earth outline of this property or any of the properties that you're looking at, but of course you can also see that reaffirmed, reiterated here on the plat map, and then the zoomed in plat map, which will show you that this is in fact the cul-de-sac lot. Anywho, we of course have photos of all these properties. Just kind of walk through the gallery here, just to give you a sense of what this region is like. First off, there are paved roads all throughout this region, as noted. That's what you're going to find in one of these residential areas like this. You can also see in this photo, of course, power lines. They are ubiquitous throughout the region. Underground telecom lines can be found here and there, but they're servicing the entire region. So I don't know that these specific properties have underground telecom lines directly at the property boundary, but it is a service that's available to you and likely not difficult to get, extended out and connected up to whatever you decide to build on the property. Anywho, the other thing that you kind of get from this photo is just a sense of how nice this nearby developed home site is. You'll see more of that in the photo galleries as we go. Point being, paved road access, power at the lot line, and then we've got a lot of kind of indistinguishable photos of just the land out here. Now, it should be noted, guys, you'll notice a kind of hilly topography to this. If I come back to Google Maps, what you can kind of see if you eyeball this area is that this is a region with, we will call them undulating hillsides. Undulating hillsides. They're up, they're down, they're all around. Point being, this is not a wide open area of flat land where you can build anywhere. All of these properties that we're selling, all of these properties that I suspect have been developed out here, have all been developed on land that had some kind of pitch to it, some kind of slope, some kind of pronounced incline, decline. Now, some of these, we bought 3 out here. I will tell you that we had opportunity to buy, I don't even know, 40 or 50 or something like that out here. We passed on a lot of them because what you'll find is that the slope to some of the, you can kind of see it here in the photos, the slope to some of these is, I'm not going to say you can't build on it. I'm just going to say it would be prohibitively expensive. Additionally, some of these really veer down into canyons. Like if somebody's trying to sell you a 1 acre property out here, 90% of it might be at the base of a canyon type of thing. So we were very selective about what we purchased out here. That being said, if you do choose to develop the land, you're going to have to deal with this issue of grading, of flattening, of whatever exactly an engineer or a contractor has to do to build a house out here. It's probably going to be a little bit more involved simply because of the terrain within this region. Whatever the case, of course, because these properties do sit on hillsides, you're going to have some nice views of the surrounding region of the neighboring lots, so on and so forth. And it's unlikely that anybody's going to build anything that's going to obstruct your view, certainly not anytime soon. Point being, there is a pitch that exists with these properties out here. Anywho, you can kind of see here with the telephoto shots exactly how nice the surroundings are, exactly the kind of views that you're going to have. Additionally, there we go, nearby developed home sites. This gives you a better sense of exactly how built up it is out here. Now, additionally, guys, what you can kind of make out from these photos, and I wish we had more of them, is that the home sites that are out here are some pretty nice SFRs, single-family residences out here. I don't know that I've seen anything that specifically prohibits mobile homes. That being said, when I don't see mobile homes in a region like this, that suggests to me that they're probably not allowed. They're probably not zoned that way. I'll talk about that a little bit more when I get to zoning, but point being, this is a place where you're going to come to construct a single-family residence, and if you want to get a sense of what's allowed and what's not allowed, of course, you can always talk to zoning, or sometimes if you just kind of drive up and down the streets, you get a sense of it. Anyway, we'll return to that in a bit. As always, guys, we've got photos here. We've got the drone overlays, which give you a sense, of course, of the surroundings, the property, the terrain, the footprint, so on and so forth. I will let you view these at your leisure. For now, however, let's go back up to the top of the page here. Let's talk more about zoning and covenants. So, as noted, these properties that a developer comes in, they buy up a couple thousand acres of land, they chop it all up into these small portions. There are usually covenants and restrictions that go with that. Rico Estates is no exception. It has covenants and restrictions. If you click this link, it's going to take you to this PDF. Now, what I will tell you guys is that these are the kinds of covenants and restrictions that, to me, are kind of redundant with zoning. Either the zoning comes along years later, becomes more formalized, and, let's say, conforms to what the covenants and restrictions originally kind of dictated, or it just supersedes them, let's say. So if you read through these, so this is about 6 pages. The restrictions actually start on page 2. If you read through these, a lot of these are kind of logical, reasonable, good neighbor. They kind of make sense. For instance, point number 13 down here on the covenants has to do with don't make your yard a junkyard. No lots in Rico Estates shall be used as a junkyard or auto storage or graveyard. Well, that's nice. That's nice to know. If you're building a home out there, you want your property values to appreciate, not depreciate. So the fact that somebody said, don't be a jerk and put like a junkyard on your land, that's a good thing. Additionally, point 19 down here, no outdoor toilets. Put your toilets inside your houses. That's a good idea. Okay, that helps the property values. Additionally, something I want to point out to you guys, point number 15, this is kind of an interesting one. This is what I was touching upon earlier. The water services shall be taken from a public utility company and not from any other party. Individual wells or similar systems for water shall not be allowed. So, who knows if anybody's enforcing that now, but it seems to me like the whole region has conformed to that in the way that there's a water utility that services this area. So that, of course, is a nice benefit. That's a savings to you right there, because you're not going to have to drill a well. Now, let me get into some of the points of these covenants and restrictions that might kind of throw some of you guys off. So, point number 3 is an interesting one. All buildings erected in Rico Estates shall be constructed of stucco, masonry, or brick adobe, or clay brick, or part redwood or steel, and any other materials. I feel like they just named a lot of materials. I also feel like, without being incredibly familiar with the region down there and what gets built and how things get built, my guess is most of these are common materials for any of the structures you would see built in this region to begin with. So my guess is this is not a huge ask of anybody who's going to develop land out here. Point number 4 has to do with an architectural committee, which says if and when formed, meaning it didn't exist at the outset and it probably does not exist today. Rather, you're going to be dealing with the zoning board out there, getting building permits, getting plans approved for whatever it is that you want to get approved out there. Point is, it's not an architectural control committee. There's no HOA out here. There's no HOA dues. It's not that kind of thing, even though the covenants were written with some eye toward that possibly in the future. Another interesting one. Point number 6 has to do with native growth in Rico. Shall not be harmed, destroyed, or removed for any of the lots in said subdivision, except as may be necessary for the construction and maintenance of roads, driveways, and residences. Okay. So basically just ignore everything you just read unless you're, if you're building a home. Point number 7, no Bermuda grass. That one makes sense. You're living in a desert. We don't want grass that you have to water, too much. So that one makes sense. And finally, point number 12, guys, says down here, no house trailers. These covenants were written back in the late 60s. I'm not sure if house trailer back then would have meant mobile home today. I'm not sure if that would have been the parlance of the time for mobile home, but it suggests to me, and more so looking at the homes that you'll see in this area, that mobile homes are probably not a thing out here. But if you want to dig into that further, as always, guys, we recommend talking to local zoning. Of course, to talk to local zoning, we have their contact information down here. We also have it in the county contact information at the bottom of the page. This lot, all these lots, this whole region is zoned R2. And if you want to learn what R2 zoning is, you can click this link and you can read this page and a half of very vague details, which is an excerpt from the county zoning ordinance. In short, as it says up here, R2 district is designed to accommodate a single-family residence. That's about as detailed as it gets. It gets into how many pigs and goats you could potentially own on that residence. But it doesn't really talk about building materials. It doesn't really talk about what's allowed or not allowed. So those are probably deeper conversations that you would want to have with the county if you are electing to build out here. Anywho, let me just go back here for a second. I want to point out to you guys a couple other things. Number one, all of these properties, because it's in this densely developed residential area, all have physical addresses. So anybody who's going out here to scout the land, you will actually, unlike a lot of properties we list, have a physical address that you could punch to your GPS. That's helpful, number one. Number two, To anybody who does want to develop these lots, we have down here the sort of major utility companies that service this region, links to each of their respective websites. Unisource, of course, is the local power company, number one. Then we've got Mediacom. This seems to be the dominant cable company that services this region out here. And then we've got Liberty, which is the water utility in this region. Pause the video for a moment. And, of course, it's always good to reach out to these entities in advance. Talk to them about the cost, the logistics involved in getting power, water, whatever, connected, extended to the subject property. Say, hey, I'm buying some land out here in Rio Rico. I'm going to be building a house. What do I need to know about this? Now, perhaps that's a conversation your contractor is going to have with them, or maybe your contractor already knows the answers. But for anybody doing their due diligence in advance of giving us roughly $9,000, these are always good entities to talk to in advance. Anywho, guys, with all that said, do want to say that all of these properties were insured through Pioneer Title Agency. We have title insurance on all of them, so we will be providing warranty deeds on all of these. If you would like to purchase any one of these fine properties, just come up here, click the Buy Now button on our website. It's going to take you to this secure checkout page. We're going to ask you for a non-refundable, people, let me say it again, non-refundable earnest money deposit of $500. Basically, this kicks off the process. You know, when you're getting into a property like this where it's, it's under $10,000, so we recommend we'll just do a notary close. We'll drop all the documentation. We'll get it recorded with the county. If you, the buyer, want to close through the title company, if you too want to get title insurance on this specifically because you're going to be developing it, because you're going to be building a home site, we do not object to that. If you want to do that, that's fine with us. Makes no difference. Point being, just enter all your information up here, legal name for deed, tax address, so on and so forth. Agree to the terms of service, and on the next page you can enter credit or debit card information to place that $500 deposit. If you're electing to close outside of title, if you're just going to pay us the rest of the money in a cashier's check or a wire or what have you, credit card, we'll want to collect the money within, a few days, reasonable amount of time, something like that. We understand people have limits on their credit cards. Some people can only charge $1,000 a day. We get that. We're reasonable people. We just want to make sure that the process doesn't get dragged out too long. If, however, you do want to drag out the process a super long time, let's close through a title company. And we'll get documentation, you sale purchase agreement, you sign it, we sign it, we'll submit it to them, and they will take probably about 30 or 45 days to get this done. At the end of which, then they will ask you for the remaining money, which of course they will only disperse to us once we have signed the new deed. To learn more about any of these processes, guys, we have a page on our website. It's called Buying From Us, how it works. It can walk you through the process that we recommend for properties under $10,000 or for properties over $10,000, whichever one you want to do. You are the buyer. He with the gold makes the rules. So we go where you go. That being said, that's the way that this breaks down. Anyway, guys, hope you like these properties. We really like this little residential region out here. We think this is a nice opportunity for people who are perhaps buying their first property in the U.S., just kind of moving up from Mexico, want to be close to family down south, or anybody who works around the border, who works in this region out here. It's a pretty area, and these are some affordable lots, so hopefully you feel the same way about them that I do. With all that said, guys, thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next video.